Let's get road on the show. Short the road. Okay, so you're standing with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. So the same distance between the inside of the toes, inside of the heels, and the inside of your knees. Keep that bend in your knees the whole time. Imagine you have a long ponytail on the top of the head. Imagine this is tied up to the ceiling. So you have the feeling as if you are suspended from above. Your pelvic area is tilted forwards, feels like it's hanging down from that suspension above. Hanging down plumb. Hanging down plumb. Okay, so imagine you have a ball in your belly, about 3 fingers below the belly button and in the center of the body. A fist-sized ball, closer to the spine than to the front of the body. And you're taking the weight of the head down through the spine, down through the ball in the belly, down through the legs and into the ground. So you're neutralizing the weight of the upper body. You're perfectly perpendicular to the planet. Put your mind into that ball in the belly and just start to turn it from side to side. Turning it from side to side, which sets your waist into motion and starts to shift the weight of the body from one leg to the other leg. Turning, turning, turning. I'm going to move my diffuser. I've got a diffuser up. I'm going to move it. Give you a bit more brightness. Turning, turning, turning. So no, this movement is not coming from tensing in the muscles against here. We're moving from the ball and the belly. We're engaging all the muscles around the pelvic area, but we're not moving from there. Just engaging them with the weight of the body, gravity, and the turning of that ball in the belly and the waist. Slingshotting through the hips and the pelvic area, the quad area. Staying in the center for the moment, so you have a straight line down from the top of the head, the apex of the head, the bipod point, to that midpoint in between your 2 feet, and you're just turning on that center line. Turning on that center line, feeling the natural shock absorbing properties of your legs. So we know we're not locking the legs out, we're sinking down, feeling the natural spring, the shock absorbers in the legs. So sinking down, the knee goes forwards ever so slightly, the hip goes backwards, sinking down. You have those 2 triangles that make up the feet. The triangle from the ankle to the heels to the balls of the feet, from the ankle to the balls of the feet to the toes. Those 2 triangles. Feel yourself rolling between those 2 triangles and activating the pump of the plantar fascia, the fascia, along the soles of the feet. Kind of sinking down, compressing, turning and pumping out, and sending that pump up through the body and out to the fingertips. Out to the fingertips. So we're using the minimal amount of effort to keep our body in motion here. Really feeling the compression of the body. The elasticity of the connective tissue against the bones, the myofascia, the stringy, stretchy white tissue, the sinew inside the body. We're making these bows with the bones. The bows will we bend the bones there. We have a bow between the thigh and the calf, between the shin and the top of the foot, underneath the arch of the foot, between the front of the thigh and the belly, those bows. And we feel the connective tissue as the strings to those bows. Sinking down, compressing those bows against the ground, and then just releasing, letting that compression release, that jing energy release, and sending it up through the body and out to the fingertips. The minimal amount of effort. The better you can neutralize the weight of your body, take the weight of the body down and load up those bows, the more jing energy you'll be able to store in your body. So really make sure that you are mind-body connected in this moment. Your mind is not wandering away, not thinking about your day, thinking about anything else. Truly engaged, connected, really working on your interior section, the inner feeling of the workings of the body. Sinking down, bouncing out. Then we can start to shift more from leg to leg. So shifting more from leg to leg. So moving through these 3 vertical axes now. The axis down from the top of the head, so the midpoint in between your 2 feet, and the axis down from the earlobes, down through the very center of the feet. Moving freely through these 3 vertical axes across this horizontal plane. Turning, turning, turning. Sinking down. Then you can start to let the heel follow, the sideways movement of the body. Sinking down. Let the heel follow, or the leg follow this turning of the waist. So you're not pivoting, you're not pulling in from the hips here. You're just feeling the body pulling the knee in. Feel the weight of the body levering the heel away from you. Sitting down, so it's an empty stance, dropping all the way to the body down onto that supporting leg. And when the leg's at its fullest, have more weight towards the triangle at the rear of the foot. Have that 70-30 weight distribution when the leg is at its fullest, and soften the insteps. All this going on. So you feel this rotation coming up through the body. Make sure you're not really rotating your knee. Keep your knee in line with the toes, but you can feel the ankle rotating. You feel the bones rotating. You feel the hip rotating. Rotation all the way up through the body, all the way up through the body. And feel the connective tissue wrapping around the rotating bones. Wrapping around, so you're kind of squeezing them, wringing them out. Squeezing the synovial or synovial fluid through the sinew, through the fascia. All this happening inside the body. And make the hands into hollow fists. And start to bring the hands up in front of you. So the heel is still coming off the ground. The heel's still coming off the ground. Not as much as it was in the previous exercise, but the heel's still coming off the ground. Activating that pump, sinking down, rolling toe to heel and bouncing out heel to toe. Sending that pump up through the body. Make sure it's not going out through the ribs or getting stuck in the curvature in the lower back or going out through the chest. Going all the way up to the fists. Make sure it's not going out through the neck either, so keep the jaw parallel to the floor. That lifting feeling the head. That pushing the neck back against the collar of a shirt. Almost like a horse rearing up onto its hind quarters, its front legs and hoofs in the air, its mane fluttering in the wind. Standing tall, confident, proud. You know, it's not that egotistical pride, it's the pride of good self-esteem, a good sense of self-worth. Then open up the hands and throw one hand over the shoulder, the other hand onto the lower back. One hand onto the shoulder, the other hand onto the lower back. Throwing your arms up, just feeling the strength of the earth behind your arms and throwing them up. And one hand over the shoulder, the other hand onto the lower back. Throwing them up. And as always, working to your capabilities, so you don't have to do them as vigorous as I'm doing them here. You can do them very, very gentle. Heavy elbows. Just throwing them up. Okay, and then just let the momentum settle down on its own. Let the momentum settle down. So we're going to do quite a few standing postures tonight. We're going to do this one, we're going to do this one, and we're going to do our universal pose. We're going to start in this one. Heels are together. If the feet were on the face of a clock, left foot will be pointing somewhere between 10 and 11, right foot somewhere between 1 and 2. Lift your toes off the ground. And drop the weight back into the heels. Make sure the structure's not buckling, so sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Pelvic area is tilted forwards, hanging down, and feel yourself sitting down. So bend the knees, sit down. Sit down to that gluteal sulcus, where the top of the legs meet the buttocks. You have that groove. Feel like you're sitting down onto a high stool here, like a bar stool, a high stool, sitting down. And releasing and relaxing into your legs, like you would if you were sitting down onto a high stool. So we're not locking the legs out, you're not locking the joints out, you're opening the joints. Sitting down. More weight towards the rear of the feet. Lower the toes down if you're not already. Sitting down. Arms about to stand by your side. Keeping the small gap underneath each armpit. At least let the air get to your armpits. Or you can imagine you're holding a small grape underneath your armpits without crushing or dropping the grapes. Arms about to stand by your side. Fingers touching onto your thighs. Head as if suspended from above. Then, if you can keep your balance and you feel comfortable, I want you to close your beautiful eyes. Closing your beautiful eyes. If you really have trouble standing and balancing with your eyes closed, you can do the visualization as if you're looking into the distance. Way, way, way beyond where you're standing. You can imagine you're looking through a light mist or fog and watching birds flying near distant clouds against the backdrop of a beautiful turquoisey blue summer sky. You can imagine you're looking deep into a lush green forest, trying to catch a glimpse of a beautiful, rare and shy creature. You can imagine you're looking across the expanse of a great lake or river, looking at a beautiful object on the opposite bank. That is, you're not being distracted visually by anything you see around you. You're not being distracted by anything you're taking in through your senses. It's all there, apart from if you've got your eyes closed. It's all there. You're just not thinking about it. You know, as humans, we think in words. We have names for everything we see, and we name them in our head. Table, chair, person, sky, wall. And we judge them as being good or bad. And we have that dialogue, that constant dialogue going on through our head. So we're trying to go beyond thinking in words. Trying to go beyond linear thinking. We're not thinking of the future or the past. We're trying to just be connected to this moment, the here and the now. Head as if it is suspended from above. Then I want you to relax. all of your face muscles. Relax the muscles behind and around your eyes. And your eyes, if you do have them closed, they're not tightly closed. They're closed so you can't make any shapes or images from your surroundings out, but they're open enough so you can let a little bit of light in. And you're breathing in through your nose, if you can, of course. Feel the cool air as it travels over your top lip and up your nostrils and down. Down into your lower abdomen. And feel the warm air on your nostrils as you breathe it out. Try to make the out breath a little bit longer than the in breath. And the breath should be nice and light. You shouldn't be able to hear the breath. Gently touching the tip of the tongue to the top of the mouth, just behind your front teeth. Your teeth are together, but they're not clenched. The same with your lips. Tucking your chin in, not up or down. Keeping your jaw parallel to the floor. Have the feeling as if somebody's pulling on your ears. To pull your neck back against the collar of a shirt. And with the jaw parallel to the floor and that pulling back, you feel the cervical region of the spine, the neck. You feel those vertebrae lengthening. You feel the skull being pulled back and lifting up off the spine, but you're not stretching the neck. The neck's nice and relaxed. Really feel like the head is floating on the neck, like a boat floats on water. Nice and relaxed. So this is our jam jam, or zang zang, our standing of the post. Standing like an unmoving post in the wind, but we're not standing in rigid tension. Standing in relaxed stillness, or trying to stand in relaxed stillness. It's not until you try to be still that you notice how much movement happens in the body. But if movement does happen, don't tense up to stop it. Just try to bring yourself back to a more central position and try and bring yourself back to stillness. Trying to still the body and trying to still the mind. Stilling the mind is even harder than stilling the body. Not until you try to still your mind that you notice how much the mind wanders. Wanting that constant dialogue, that thinking. There are those aspects of the mind that don't like this stillness of body or stillness of mind. Those aspects of the mind that feed off of the busy body and the busy mind. Freud called it the id. Jung, the dark shadow. In the Oriental arts, we call it the little I, the lower self. The part of the mind that develops when we are a baby, little baby. We don't have words to express ourselves or to get what we want, so we scream until we get warmth, comfort, food, changed, security. We develop that part of the mind, and once we've developed it, it never goes. We must learn as we get older to regulate it. Not just give in to its demands. It's that part of the mind that wants you to start moving, wants you to fidget, wants you to think. But we're trying not to give in to that little part of the mind. So when thoughts come into your head, don't follow them. Don't let them turn into thinking. Just kind of smile to yourself and bring yourself back to your body. And take a breath in through your nose to your lower abdomen. And as you exhale, feel your shoulders release with the out breath. Really feel the weight of your arms weighing the shoulders down. Heavy shoulders. Keep that small gap underneath each armpit and really send your awareness out to your hands. Feel the air on the back of the hands, the cloth of your trousers, but not thinking about those things you're feeling, just being aware of them in the here and the now. You have a hollow underneath each collarbone called the shoulder's nest. Take a breath in through your nose to your lower abdomen, and as you exhale, feel those nests relaxing, releasing. Feel the chest muscles relax, release, the ribs relax and release, and all sinking down into your belly. Let the belly hang out. Take another breath in through your nose to your lower abdomen. This time as you exhale, feel the chest sink. Feel the back naturally rounding. You're not hunching the upper back, just feel the shoulder blades moving out to the sides and ever so slightly down, really rounding the upper back and opening up that gate in between the shoulder blades. Really feel that space in between the shoulder blades opening, loosening, releasing, relaxing, dissolving. Make sure you're not flaring your lower ribs out. Sink your ribs to fill your lower back. Breathe into your belly, relax the lower back. Okay, we're going to step out into a shoulder width stance now. See if you can do this without opening your eyes. So we know for balance, we tend to make visual markers of our surroundings to know how we're balanced in relation to them. With our eyes closed, we don't have that, so we really have to feel the balance of the body. This is our proprioception, that inner feeling of the balance of the body. We have all those proprioceptors all over the body, in the fluid in between the joints, in the fluid in the ears, sending those sensory neurons back to the central nervous system, to the brain, to tell the brain how the body is balanced in relation to its surroundings. And that the nervous system in turn sends back those motor neurons to tell the muscles to fire or to relax, to adjust, to bring yourself back to a better equilibrium. So let's really try and step out to a shoulder width stance just using our proprioception. So sink onto your right leg, ever such a slight turn to your right. You can expand the arms out ever so slightly out to the side, turning to your left, raising the left heel, sinking down into the right heel, foot flat on the floor, and just step out to where you think your shoulder width is. Where you think your shoulder width is. Heels in line. Turn the waist back to your right to turn the left toes in. Push across from the right leg to the left leg. Turn the waist to your left to pull the right toes in. Settle down in the center. And without opening your eyes, you should have your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders, but feet parallel to each other. If you feel through your proprioceptive kind of awareness that your feet, you need to adjust the feet ever so slightly, adjust the feet now without opening your eyes. And you can open your eyes and just check. You've got your feet, your distance, shoulder to arm. Okay, your palms are facing behind you, as if you've got the inside of the arms and the palms against a wall behind you, or level with the back of your body, the posterior of your body. You don't have to have your arms as high as I'm having them here. You can have them just down here. I tend to go a bit higher. I'm trying to work on getting them lower. Nice and relaxed. Head as if suspended from above. Then again, closing your beautiful eye. You sink in the chest, rounding the upper back, sink the ribs to fill the lower back, breathe into the belly, relaxing the lower back, tilting the pelvic area ever so slightly forward. Or pushing the tailbone down towards the floor, forwards and ever so slightly up. And this with the head as if suspended from above gives you the nice lengthening of your spine. Really feel the spine lifting up inside the body, the skull being pulled back by the ears and lifting up off the spine. At the same time, feel the face muscles sinking down, the shoulders, nest, the chest, the ribs all sinking down. And again, pushing the bottom bone of the spine towards the floor, forwards and ever so slightly up. And do all this with your mind, your intent. You're not tensing muscles to get this lengthening, this alignment of the spine. You're thinking this lengthening, this alignment of the spine, this neutral spine. Perfectly upright. You're not leaning forwards, backwards, or to the sides. Just feeling gravity pulling down through you, not trying to pull you in any direction. Pulling down through you. So standing of the post, dang, standing like an unmoving post in the wind. And again, it's not standing in rigid stillness, standing in relaxed stillness. You're trying to use the minimal amount of muscular effort to hold yourself up. So I want you to have the intent, to have the perineum in between your legs, in between the genitals and the anus. Have the feeling as if you're pulling the perineum up. As if pulling, and it's just an intent, it's not a tensing thing. Kind of the sort of thing we do when we do our Neigong, our reverse breathing. But it's an intent, you're thinking it. Pulling the perineum up, pushing the tailbone down towards the floor, forwards, ever so slightly. And the pelvic area feels like it's hanging down from our suspension from above. So relaxing the hips, the buttocks, the pelvic floor, the hips, the thighs. Really feel like you're sitting down, bend the knees and sit a little bit further down into the posture. Keep more weight towards the rear of the feet. Have that 70-30 weight distribution with the triangles in the feet. Soften the insteps, a 50-50 divided the weight between both legs. Pelvic area is hanging down, but nice and relaxed, nice and relaxed. Relax the thighs, soften the knees, do a real mental loosening of your knees. Relax the shins, the calves, loosen your ankles, relax your feet flat on the floor. Again, 70% of the weight towards the triangles at the rear of the feet, 30 towards the triangles at the front of the feet. Softening the insteps, 50-50 divide the weight between both. So standing in stillness, relaxed stillness. Without changing your posture or using any more muscle, breathing in, just feel the whole of your skeleton lift up inside the body. Feel all those spaces, the joints in between the bones, opening up and filling, flushing with that fluid that lubricates your joints. Feel the bones floating on that fluid, like you're floating in water. You can imagine you're neck deep in water, in the sea, with your feet safely on the seabed, surrounded by water, supported by water on all sides. Breathing in, feel that lifting inside your body. Maintain that intent. And as you breathe out from the top of your head, all the way down to the soles of your feet, just feel the rest of the body relaxing down around your upright skeleton. Feel the muscles releasing and falling away from the bones, and any tension, physical or mental, draining down through the body. And imagine, visualize it going out through the soles of the feet into the ground. We can imagine you bury that tension. Just let it go. You don't need or want that tension, so just let it go. When you're ready, I want you to open your eyes, reconnect visually with your surroundings. Take a breath in, breathe out, just release the posture. Releasing the posture. And shaking out, shaking the body out. Okay, feet hip distance, shoulder apart, parallel to each other. Again, turning the waist, turning the waist, turning the waist. So a little bit different to the way we were doing it before. So now when the leg is at its fullest, the hip is more open and closed. Sinking down. So as you sink down onto your right leg, you're turning to your left and opening that right hip. As you sink down to your left leg, you're turning to your right, opening that left hip. Sinking down. You still have those straight lines down from the earlobes down through the very center foot when the leg is at its fullest. The knee goes forwards, hip goes backwards, sitting down, spiraling down, neutralizing down, sitting down. Again, 70% of the weight towards the triangle at the rear of the foot when the leg's at its fullest, 30% of the weight towards the triangle at the front foot when the leg's at its fullest. Softening the instep. Just moving from your center, moving freely across the quad, the pelvic area. Keeping the head up, sitting down. Then let the toes follow the movement of the rest of the body. So you're levering the toes away from the body. Levering the toes away from the body. Sitting down. So it's an empty stance, dropping the weight of the body down, spiraling down. Again, feel the reaction of your skeleton to the weight of the body here. Just sink down. It's important the bones do rotate. Feel them rotating. Nice even rotation up through the body. And again, make sure you're not twisting the knee. Keep the knee in line with the toe. Feel that rotation, a slight rotation all the way up through the body. Feel the muscles tensing just as much as they need to against the skeleton. When that's just enough, you should be able to feel the elasticity of the connective tissue. Use that sinew, the myofascia, against the bows you're making with the bones. And feel the weight of the body loading those bows up. And you just let that compression, that energy, that jing release. And steer that release of energy using the dantian. This is all going on inside your body. So again, if your mind is wandering away from what we're doing here, you are still thinking about your day, daydreaming, and you're using up your mental power, and you won't be able to really feel all these connections happening inside the body. So again, if you do notice your mind wandering away, just bring it back. Bring it back to the here and the now. It doesn't matter how many times you bring it back. It's that process of bringing ourselves back that we get the benefits from. Change into raising the heel. Raising the heel. Just pulling the heel in towards you, pushing the knee, levering the knee away from you. Sinking down. Still an empty stance. Empty stance. And changing to raising the left toes, right heel, left toes, right heel. And right toes, left heel. These waist turning exercises, taking me, and most of you guys have been on, or a few of you guys have been on this journey for a long time with me. You know, it's taken years to gather all these waist turning exercises together. Years and years and years. Would have practiced a form of waist turning exercise in the first class, went to and still practice them every day in my own training. So much to learn from these waist turning exercises. We have our yin and yang, our substantial, insubstantial, with that turning of the waist, neutralizing down that compression, so that tinging, internal tinging awareness of the body, guiding the body down, so jaging, neutralizing, understanding how to compress the body against the ground, then allowing that energy to release. So we have our Fa Jing. We call it in Yiquan Fa Li. Fa Li. Okay, just let this settle down on its own. Settling down on its own. So it's hands onto the waist, front of hips. And I want you to, with the ball and belly, with the dantian, the lower dantian, I want you to push down through your left heel. Push up through the body and just push your head over to your right side. As if you're trying to push the ear to touch the shoulder. Keep the shoulder nice and relaxed. Make sure the other shoulder's not lifting up. Make sure you're not sticking the chest or the ribs out or curving in the lower. Feel this lengthening all up the side of the body. Those lateral bands of connective tissue. So when you relax, you feel that stretch reflex and the balance reflex kicking in to bring you upright. Then push down with your right heel. Push up through the body and push your head over to your left side. Again, without sticking the chest or the ribs out or curving in the lower back. Keep the shoulder nice and both shoulders nice and relaxed. Feel this lengthening all up the side of the body. When you relax, you feel it contracting back. You're just pushing from side to side. Feeling the strength of the earth behind this movement. Only really moving your neck and your head, but feel the movement supported by the whole body. Lengthening. As always, working to your capabilities. Feel that balance reflex bringing you to the upright position, that hardwired reflex in your nervous system to bring you to this upright bipedal position. Then again, push down from the dantian down through the left heel, push up through the body and push your head to your right side. Keep the jaw parallel to the floor and relax and feel the body pulling back. And then push down through your right heel, push up through the body and push the head to the other side. Just pushing and pulling from side to side. Pushing and pulling from side to side. You can imagine you're balancing a bowl of water on the top of the head. Again, only really moving the neck and the head here, but feel the movement supported by the whole body, supported by the world. Looking straight forwards. Then push down through the heels, push up through the body, push the head up and back, without sticking the chest or the ribs out or curving in the lower back. Feel a lengthening all but the front of the body. Relax and feel that contracting back. Then keep more weight towards the heels, grip the floor of the toes and pull the chin down towards the chest without hunching the upper back or bulging out the lower back. Feel that lengthening all the back of the body. And just keep this going. Keep it going, keep it going, keep going. And looking straight forwards. Looking straight forward. No, in fact, looking down at the floor, looking down at the floor. Then with your eyes, I want you to look to your left side. I want your head to follow your eyes. You trace your eyes across the floor. The eyes leading, the head follows the eyes. Do you see where the floor and the wall? Then I want you to trace your eyes up the wall. The eyes leading, the head follows the eyes. Do you see where the wall and the ceiling meet? Eyes tracing across the ceiling. The eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes until you're looking up at the ceiling above your head. And looking down to your right side. Eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes. Do you see where the ceiling and the wall meet? Eyes tracing down the wall. The eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes. Do you see where the wall and the floor? Eyes tracing across the floor, the eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes until you're looking down the floor in between your feet. Then looking to your right side, eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes tracing across the floor. Do you see where the floor and the wall? Eyes tracing up the wall, the eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes. Do you see where the wall and the ceiling? Eyes tracing across the ceiling, the eyes are leading, the head follows the eyes until you're looking up at the ceiling above your head. Then looking down to your left side. Do you see where the ceiling and the wall meet? Eyes tracing down. Do you see where the wall and the floor meet? Eyes tracing across the floor, the eyes leading, the head follows the eyes until again you're looking down the floor in between your feet. And raising the head up to the feeling as if it is suspended from above, looking straight forward. Hands onto the shoulders. We go up and down, up and down, up and down. Keeping the hands on the shoulders, see how close together you can get the elbows in front of you. Rolling. You can kind of feel that wave going up through your body here. Wave going up through the body. That pump coming up, rolling between those two triangles of the feet, pumping up through the body. Go one way with the shoulders and the other way. Keep the pelvic area tilted forwards, jaw parallel to the floor. Feel this pump, the whole body behind the movement. One arm forwards, one back. Roll and feel the cross connection here between your hips and your shoulders. Feel the cross connection here between your elbows and your knees. One way and the other way. Feel the whole body behind the movement. Movement supported by the world. And both elbows down, turn the waist so one goes forwards, one goes back. Both elbows up, turn the waist, one forwards, one back. Both elbows up at the same time. Both elbows down at the same time. Turning the waist, feel this lengthening and contracting, this compression and expansion. The one way and the other way. Let it settle down on its own. Okay, hands onto the shoulders next here. We're going to move the ribs. So those 12 pairs of ribs, 24 ribs connecting to the 12 vertebrae of the thoracic region of the spine, coming around connecting onto the sternum, apart from the floating ribs here. We're going to move the ribs. We know we're not fused here. We're joined with the ribs joined onto the sternum, onto the spine with cartilage and ligaments. So we're going to move this area here from side to side. Moving from side to side here. Just moving from the rib cage here, side to side. Forwards and backwards. So really working on your interoception, the inner feeling of the work in the body. So again, if your mind is still scattered away from where we are now, you'll find it hard to connect mind, body. Send this area all the way around. All the way around. One way and the other way. Okay, settling down, settling down. Okay. Okay, hands onto the hips or onto the waist. Tilt the pelvic area forwards and push it back. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. We're really working the sacral joint here. Sacral iliac joint. Loosen up this joint here. We know we should have movement here. Not too much, but not too little either. Should have movement here. Getting smaller, smaller and smaller until it's hanging down plump. Then just send this area around. So loosen up this joint here. Send it around. Go one way and the other way. Let it settle down on its own. Let it settle down on its own. Feet together. Hands onto the thighs. Sit down. Make sure the lower back is not bulging out and not curving in, sliding down. You can incline forwards from the hips until the hands are onto the knees. Sitting down. Just give the knees a really good rub. Give the knees a really good rub. Little fingers rubbing down the outside of the knees. Thumbs down the inside of the knees. Fingers and palms over the kneecaps of the toes. Really rubbing warm, loving, positive energy into your knees. And send the knees around. Still rubbing them. Sending the knees around. Still rubbing them. One way. And the other way. Let it settle down and push the knees back. Do a lengthening all the back of the body. Make sure again you're not putting all the pressure onto the lower back here. Sink the ribs to feel the lower back. Feel this up the back of the body, from the toes on the soles of the feet, up the back of the body, the hamstrings, the buttocks. Then going down to the squat. Sit down into the heels. Make sure the lower back's not curving in. Sitting down to the heels, keep the knees on the toes. When you can't go any lower, just roll. Lift the heels, roll towards the toes. And keep nice and upright. Coming up. Lengthen up the back of the body. And sitting down to the heels, knees on the toes, protect the lower back. Roll towards the toes. Sitting up. Coming up. And sitting down. Interlace the fingers, loosen up the wrists, step forward, loosen up the wrists, loosen up your ankle, step back, loosen up the wrists, loosen up your ankle, sit back with the other foot, wrist and ankle, step back. Okay. So feet about the same distance as your hips and your shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. We know when I've first learned Tai Chi, I remember reading that you should have about one length of one of your feet in between your feet. This is the Tai Chi Stance. I tend to go a little bit wider than that, but just for this one, we'll have that narrower stance there. So your heels are underneath your shoulders, feet parallel to each other, head as if suspended above. Keep that small gap underneath each armpit. Let the air get to your armpits. I just want you to sit down onto your left leg. I want you to turn to your left. Turn to your left. Come back to the center. Sit down to your right leg and turn. To your right. Sitting down. Feel this rotation all the way up through the body. Back to the center. Sit down to the left leg, turn. I want you to lift your right toes up. Feel yourself, but not so much lifting up. Feel this turning, pulling the toes up. Not pulling them in, just pulling them up. And feel yourself contracting back, then turn to the other side. Pull the left toes up. You really try to feel the connective tissue doing this. The anatomy trains. It's the waist turning. The body moving that's pulling the toes up. Just let your arms hang. Turning. Pulling up. Pulling the toes up. And feel the inner connectedness of the body. Again, if your mind is wandering away from what we're doing here, think about what you were doing after or what you're doing earlier, planning, plotting, scheming the future, and you really find it hard to connect. Or the inner workings of the body here. So don't chase those shiny magpie thoughts. Notice when that little part of the mind wants to wander away from the here and the now, and just bring yourself back. You're practicing not letting the mind wander. Really getting the meditative aspect of Tai Chi. You've got the breath into it if you're not already. Breathing in, breathing out. I'm really feeling the connectedness of the pelvic floor and the diaphragm here. All this area around here to pull the toes back. Really connecting with my core. Okay, settle down into the center. This time, let's drop the weight down onto your left leg again. This time, turn to your right. Back to the center. To the other leg, sit down, turn to the other side. And you're emptying the other leg completely. To the center, sinking down, emptying the leg completely. And I just want you to lift the leg off the floor. So the foot is hovering across the floor. Only about, it can be a millimeter, a centimeter, half a centimeter. Sinking down and lifting. Have the feeling if the leg wants to do that. Yeah, so sinking down. Only lifting it the tiniest amount off the ground. Feel as if you want to do that. You can relax the arms down. My arms are creeping up here. And relax your arms down, just keeping that small gap underneath each arm. And again, I'm engaging my core here. My diaphragm, my pelvic floor, my deep frontal line. Feeling the strength of the earth behind this lifting. Feeling the pump of the plantar fascia. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Connected. Mind, body in this moment. Feet shoulder width, raise the toes, turn them away from the body, raise the heels, raise the toes. Stepping out into a shoulder width stance. Feet parallel to each other unless it's painful on the knees. If it's painful on the knees, you can turn the toes out to the side ever so slightly. We are aiming to be able to stand in a horse riding stance, marabou stance, without turning the toes out. Pelvic area tilted forwards, hanging down, sitting down to that gluteal sulcus, taking the curve out of the lower back, so sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Ears pulled back, jaw parallel to floor, lifting, feeling the head. Arms relaxed down by side, looking straight forwards, nose in line with the belly button. Bring your arms up until you can see the hands out the corner of each eye. Make sure you can always see the hands out the corner of each eye. If you have the feeling here, if a drop of water were to land on your naked shoulder, it'll dribble all the way down. It wouldn't trickle off the angles of the elbow, it'll dribble all the way down and trickle off your fingers. That straight-ish line between the middle fingers and the elbows. As always, when we say straight in Tai Chi, always look for a slight curve in the straight. We're going to go into the bear exercise. So drop the weight of the body onto your, either side here. You can mirror me here. So drop the weight of the body onto that leg there. And then turn to that side. Folding in the inguinal crease here, compressing the leg against the ground. Still facing towards that side. Just release the compression from the leg and use it to push you back to the other leg. Sit down and then turn. Folding in the inguinal crease here. Not forcing it in, just using the weight of the body and the momentum and gravity to fold the inguinal crease in. Compress the leg against the ground. Still facing towards the side, just release. You can release it with the in-breath here. Release and push it over to the other leg. And just sinking and turning. So the bear exercise, or the constant bear. Breathing in. Keeping the upper body nice and upright, so you're not leaning here. You can imagine that the pelvic area is like a bowl of water, full to the very brim, and you don't want to tip any of this water out. Ribcage, you can feel like the ribcage is hanging down like a bell. You don't want to ring that bell. Imagine you're balancing a bowl of water on the top of each head. Off top of each head. You can imagine you're balancing a bowl of water on the top of the head. Imagine you're balancing a bowl of water on each shoulder. Breathing in, nice deep abdominal breaths. Compressing. So activating the pump of the plantar fascia, so rolling between those two triangles. Compressing. Breathing in. Breathing in. Imagine you're breathing into the lower dantian. All about 3 fingers below the belly button and in the center leg. So we're keeping the nose in line with the belly button here, the shoulders in line with the hips, so making sure we can see the hands up the corner of each eye at all times. These three to make sure that you're not turning from your upper back. You know, the same Tai Chi, all the movements come from the waist. When the waist moves, everything moves. If the waist stops, everything stops. So make sure you don't continue to turn from the upper back once the waist is stopped. You shouldn't do if you keep your nose in line with the belly button, shoulders in line with the hips, making sure you can see the hands up the corner of each eye. Keep hips and shoulders parallel to each other and parallel to the floor. In. It's a really good exercise for the digestive system, really good for strengthening the legs as well, developing that root. That Tai Chi root, a strong connection with the earth. Like a tree root going down into the ground. Breathing in and breathing out. Keep it going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Sink the chest around the upper back. Make sure you're not sticking your chest out, make sure you're not flaring your ribs out. Curving your lower back. Knocking out the hips. Really working with gravity. Remember, gravity is your ally. Gravity is your ally. Working with it. So you need that internal tinging, that awareness, that interior section, awareness of the inner workings of your body. And you're allowing gravity to take the weight of the body down. Nice smooth path down through the body, loading up those bows. Compressing. The better you understand the inner working of the body, the better you can compress the body against the ground. As you breathe in, just feel that compression releasing. And steer that release using the dantian and the lower dantian. Breathing in. And breathing out. Chemanching's constant bear exercise. And the bear exercise with eyes staring like an owl. Start to bring the hands into it, not too high. I'm going to bring the hands up to about belly height, dantian height. The heavy elbows. I'm not quite going into cloud hands here. Bring the hands up, the palms facing down. And this rotation of the forearms. Try and get the rotation coming from the turning of the body. It's not just moving on its own. Bring yourself up to shoulder width. Feet parallel to each other. Sit down into the posture. And just bring your arms up. So the palms are facing in towards your heart center here. Elbows not too high, not too low either. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Eyes open, looking into the distance. Imagine you're watching those birds flying through that mist, in the distant clouds, or looking deep into that forest, watching for that beautiful, rare, shy creature, looking across the expanse of a great lake or river. Again, you're not being distracted by anything you see around you. You're not being distracted by anything you're taking in through your senses. It's all there, but you're just not thinking about it. Neck touching against the collar of a shirt. You can imagine you're leaning against the wall here. Leaning against the wall. As much weight as you can get back in the heels without lifting the toes off the ground. Pelvic area is tilted forwards. Again, make sure the structure's not buckling. You're not holding all the weight of the body into the curvature in the lower back. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Sitting down, like sitting down onto a high stool or onto a large ball. You can feel Or you could imagine feel as if you're listening intently behind you. Somebody's whispering the secrets of Tai Chi behind you. And you're getting caught on the wind, so you're listening intently behind you, looking into the distance, breathing in through the nose to the lower abdomen. So this is the universal pose, or the man standing, the hold the ball posture. So you can imagine you're holding let's put more details than holding a ball there. Imagine in each hand you have a balloon made out of tissue paper, and you hold onto those balloons without crushing them or dropping them. Imagine in the crook of each elbow you have a balloon made out of tissue paper, inflated, and you hold onto these balloons without crushing them or dropping them. Between your chin, your neck, and your chest, imagine you have a balloon. And if it's too hard, drop your arms down here. If it's too much, you're working towards your capabilities. A balloon between your chin, your neck, and your chest, and you hold onto that balloon without crushing it or dropping it. A balloon underneath your arms. You hold onto those balloons without crushing them or dropping them. In the inguinal crease here, you have balloons. You hold onto those balloons without crushing them or dropping them. In between the legs, around the genital area, you have a balloon. You're holding onto that without crushing it or dropping it. In between the two legs, you have a couple of balloons. You hold onto these balloons without crushing them or dropping them. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. Then imagine in between all these balloons, you have more balloons, and you're holding all those balloons there without crushing or dropping them. So holding all these balloons here, holding onto them without crushing them or dropping them. Looking into the distance, listening intently behind you, as if you're leaning against the wall, sitting down onto a high stool, as much weight in the heels as you can get without lifting the toes off the ground, softening the instep with breathing. In through the nose, to the lower abdomen, to the belly. And try to be as still as you can. And those areas that really start to burn, they're the areas where the tension is trying to release. The sinew is holding on, and we're trying to let that release. Let hold of that. Let go of that hold. We know it can be mental tension that is creating physical tension inside the body. The stress you're holding on to is manifesting itself as physical tension in the body. And by going through the process of doing this standing, of going through that ache, that burning, the sinew releases, and you find a new level of relaxation and connectedness of the body. With this, you have to go through it. So let go. Again, no thoughts, no thinking. Thoughts come into your head, don't follow them, don't let them turn into thinking. Just concentrate on the body. Relaxation. Holding onto these balloons. Leaning against the wall. Ears pulled back, jaw parallel to the floor, lifting, feeling the head. Listening intently behind you, looking into the distance. Breathing. Nice deep abdominal breaths. Again, as you breathe in here, I just want you to feel as if you're pulling your tailbone and your perineum up and forwards. And the chin goes down ever so slightly as you breathe in. And breathing out, just relax. So it's kind of, you get the feel as if you're doing this. When you breathe in and breathe out, contracting back. Breathing in, doing this. So the back goes back, arms go forwards. But it's more of an intent thing than a physical thing for the moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. So you're getting that spinal pump. And turn the hands over. So the palms are facing more down than up. You can imagine you're, again, neck deep in water here. Imagine there's a plank of wood on the surface of the water. You're just resting your arms and your hands on this plank of wood. So relax the shoulders, just float. And as you breathe in, feel as if you're trying to lift yourself out of the water by pushing down onto this plank, pushing up to the top of the head. As you breathe out, feel as if you're lowering yourself down, and as if you're lifting this plank of wood up in water, not out of the water, lifting up in the water. Breathing in, pushing down, pushing up. Breathing in, coming down. So we've got a slight up and downward movement of the body now. Breathing in, and breathing out. In. The arms down. Dropping the arms down. The palms are facing up towards it, as if you're carrying a big heavy belly here. As if you're carrying a big heavy belly. Like Santa. On a big heavy belly. Looking into the distance. You can imagine you're holding a rock in each hand to feel the balance of those rocks. So sitting back into the heels, breathing in. Nice deep abdominal breaths. Bring the arms back up. So we're going to do like a circular movement with the arms, with the hands now. Coming from the whole body. So you're going to go forwards. See that? You're going to go forwards and in. Like this. You're going like this. Like this. Yeah, but feel it coming from the whole body. Sink, push forwards. In. Breathing out. So you feel that pulling of the tailbone up towards the top of the head. Pulling the chin down. So breathing in. So as your arms go forwards, kind of the back, exaggerating this, the back goes back. Just exaggerating it, yeah? Right external. Feel it coming from the whole body. So rolling between those two triangles. The soles of the feet, breathing in. With that flexing of the spine, breathing in. And breathing out. In. In. Turn the hands so the palms are facing more down. No, in fact, I have them turn more up and down. From the whole body. Breathing in and breathing out. Try and feel the elasticity, the spring of the whole body. If your shoulders are really, really aching, you can do it a little bit lower. As I said before, by going through the process of doing this, you learn to let go that hold the sinew has. Releasing those blockages. Okay. Now we're going to go. Breathing in, breathing out, pushing forwards. Palms face up, breathing in, coming up. Breathing out, palms face down. Like you're tracing the hands around a big ball. And we have this up and down movement in the whole body. Like going forward, so bring the chin towards the tailbone, bring the tailbone up. Kind of like you're doing that, really pushing forwards. Breathing in, but try to do it without muscular effort. Try and feel just the sinew doing it. Tailbone towards the chin. In and out. And change direction. Up. Coming down. Breathing in. And breathing out. Whole body engaged. The elasticity of the connective tissue against the bones. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So from feet, shoulder width-ish, turn the toes away from the body. Turn the heels away from the body. And turn the toes away from the body. So this time the toes are pointing away from the body. Not too wide, not too close either. Bring your arms up, elbows tucked in here. Keep the small gap underneath each armpit, elbows pulled in here. Again, you can imagine you're leaning against the wall, or the wall's flat against, you've got the back of the body flat against the wall. You can imagine you have springs between the fingertips and the ceiling, between the top of the head and the ceiling. And you're going to pull these springs as you squat down, not leaning forwards here, pulling these springs down. You can imagine you're compressing a spring in between your legs as well, and pushing up. You can imagine the buildings come crushing down on you, and you're kind of lifting. In fact, turn the hands over, palms facing down, pushing up, lifting the building up on the head and on the shoulders, pushing up. And coming down, breathing in, pulling those springs between the fingers and the top of the head, compressing the spring between the legs, not leaning forwards, not flange ribs out, not curving in the lower back, compressing, and then lifting the building up on your shoulders and on your head. Don't lock the legs out, but go up quite high. Breathing in, coming down, pressing down, pulling down, pushing up, nice and slow. Good structure, lifting the building up, pushing out, and pulling the springs in, and pressing down, breathing in, and breathing out, pushing up and out, breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in. You can go down to don't go any lower than the thighs parallel to the floor if you're going down that low. Pushing up. Watch that curvature of the lower back. Pushing up. One more. Nice and control, compressing that spring against the ground, stretching the springs between the fingers, and the ceiling, and the head and the ceiling. And body, the back of the body flat against the wall, and pushing up, lifting the building up. Feet hip distance shoulder apart, parallel to each other. From here, step forwards. With the right foot touch the right toes down, in front of the left toes, step back, step forwards, the left foot touch the left toes down, step forwards. Throw the right hand over the left shoulder, left hand over the right shoulder, left hand over the right ribs, right hand over the left ribs, and stepping, leg to leg, stepping. Tapping the body as hard as is comfortable for you. So both arms in front of you in this one, tapping the body, hitting the body, slapping the body with the palms, the body as hard as is comfortable for you. Sinking down. So this is an empty stance. Feel the body compressing against the ground. Just loosen up the shoulders after doing that more yang exercise. Just like this, settle down on its own. Feet shoulder width. Breathing in. And breathing out. Sitting down, breathing in. Pushing up, just like you've been doing, breathing in and breathing out. Bring the chin towards the tailbone, the tailbone up towards the chin. This is exaggerated, but it's kind of that feeling you push forward. Feel that round in the upper back, push forward. Breathing in. And breathing out. And sink the ribs, fill the back. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Feel the strength of the earth behind this, pushing forward. Like whole body connectedness with the springs, with the spring of all those bones all connected. With the bones across the arms now, and the forearm, the bicep, the forearm, the humors. Across the shoulder blades, across the chest. The spine is a bow. The bows in the legs, all connected. So it's that collective energy of all those connected bones that you're using to move the body here, not just gross muscular force. And really start to relax it down as much as you can. Opening all the joints, mentally opening all the joints. In, and breathing out. In, and breathing out. Okay. So feet hip distance, shoulder apart, parallel to each other. Drop the weight of the body onto your left leg. Turn the waist, turn the right toes out to the side. Roll, step forwards with your left foot. Maintain your feet shoulder apart, stepping forwards into this gumbu stance, a bow stance here. Arms out in front of you. So imagine behind you there's a spring, a big spring, like a suspension spring from a truck, a big long one connected to the wall behind you. Imagine you've got a big like stone ball in front of you here. As you breathe in here, you're going to pull this ball towards you and compress the spring against the wall behind you. Imagine it can travel through your leg for some reason. And breathing out, push the ball forward. Arms roll over the top of it. Breathing in, pull it back, compress the spring behind you. Tailbone touch under, go no further back than the central calf muscle. Push the ball forward, let the arms roll over. So you're pushing with your hands and your forearms. Rolling the ball forwards. Breathing in, pull it back, compress. Really sitting back, breathing out, pushing forwards. Rolling forwards. Knee in line with the toes, no further forward than the toes. Keeping nice and upright, so not leaning backwards or forwards. Breathing in. And breathing out. Keep the pelvic area tilted forwards. Breathing in. Press that spring behind you. Breathing out. Feel the compression releasing from that spring as you roll the ball forwards. Breathing in. Make sure the front leg doesn't lock out. It's quite straight here. Sit back, breathing out, go forwards. Breathing in. Breathing out. Round upper back. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Head as if suspended from above. Ears being pulled back, pull the neck against the collar of the shirt, lifting, feeling. Okay, change legs. You have the other leg forwards. Not too long, not too narrow either. Arms off the top of this ball, breathing, compress that spring behind you against the wall. And then pushing forwards. Lean on the toes, no further on the toes. And make sure you're not leaning here, breathing in. Sink the ribs to fill the lat back. You're not curving in the lat back, sitting down. So again, you can have that feeling the tailbone pulling up, forwards, and chin pulling down. You push forwards. Rolling the ball. A big stone ball here. Breathing out. Really engaging your core, your deep frontal line, pelvic floor, diaphragm. Breathing in. Breathing out. Compressing that spring behind you. Of course, it's the leg that you're compressing. Feel the pump and the plantar fascia rolling between those two triangles. Sink the chest round up the back. You can feel like you're looking into the distance again, as you're not being distracted by anything you see around you. Nearly done, nearly done, nearly done. Okay, feet hip distance, shoulder apart, parallel to each other. Mind into the dance here. Moving from side to side. Moving from your center. Sinking down. Knee goes forwards, hip goes backwards. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing into your center, breathing into the dance here. And feel the breath as you're breathing through, descending down your leg, like you're inflating the leg. And it's this leg inflating that's pushing out the leg. Or you can imagine you're standing on something floating on water. And still, pelvic area balanced like a bowl of water. And tipping out water, bowl of water on each shoulder, bowl of water on the top of the head. Ribcage hanging down like a bell. Breathing in. And breathing out. Tongue roof mouth. Blow the weight of the body down through the right leg. Breathing in right to left leg, push at the left arm. Breathing out. Blowing it down. Breathing left to right leg, push at the right arm. Breathing out, blowing it down. Breathing in. And breathing out. Ever such a slight waist turning here. Again, like you're tracing the fingers around a circle here. You're not doing it with the shoulders, doing it with the waist. The strength of the earth. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Shoulders aren't going up at all. You're just pushing your arms up. You can imagine the breath breathing in, descending down the leg and ascending up your arm. And contracting back to your center. Breathing in. Breathing out. In. Feel the resistance of the air. Feel as if you're moving through something thicker than you. You're moving through water. Put it into both arms. Up. In. Feel that pulling up of the tailbone, the chin, get that flexing the spine. Sitting down into the heels, rolling between those two triangles along the soles of the feet, pushing the arms up, pumping the arms up. Nice and relaxed. So breathing into the dantian, the lower dantian, for the breath to descend down the legs and ascend up your arms, filling the whole body with your breath. Change direction. Arms facing up, breathing in. Arms facing out, away from you, breathing out. Look into the distance. Feel that connectedness, inner connectedness of the body. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then back to the in. Hands. Rub the neck. Shoulders. You feel like you're rubbing in a magic cream, a magic linen, magic ointment. Self-massage, so rub as hard as is comfortable for you with the belly. One way, another way, all the way around. Lower back. We're going to crease the buttocks, the thighs,
The knees, strong warm loving, twisting energy into the knees, the shins and the calves and ankles. You can get down there anywhere you feel like need some special attention.
Give it a bit of rub. And we can finish there. So if there are any questions, you're going to need to turn your microphones on. Turn your microphone on.
I ain't got a question. Just that was good. I liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good.
Nice workout, yeah?
Yeah.
Rejuvenated.
Your backdrop's very nice, Julian.
You like it?
Seems familiar.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought you might be missing it, so I thought I'd bring it along.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I spent all Sunday out in there cleaning all the decking and getting the kids to clean the decking and cut the grass and blanket in there.
Good effort.
Okay, so I don't know what's happened to Ian. There are a few messages in the chat there.
He did say he'd have to go about 8 when he.
I was doing the light and the candle thing, of course. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I've said enough, haven't I? So, drink water. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Give that a practice again if you want to. If not, I will have some more things for you to practice next week.
That's excellent. Very much.
A bad etiquette Zoom week. I'm going to you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Bye
Yeah,
bye.
thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.